Did you know that 80% of women are terrified of giving birth? And I'd like to tell you a little secret. It's something that we never really talk about as women in connection with childbirth. But when a woman has an amazing natural birth experience, she feels like a superhero. And yet most of the moms I meet, that is not their experience of childbirth. Their experience of childbirth is actually feeling traumatized or feeling numb. My name is Patty Good, and I have set up a campaign called My Birth, My Choice to empower women to have their best possible birth experience. To date, I have worked with hundreds of couples, teaching them hypnobirthing. I've worked with thousands of women to help them release baggage on their journey through motherhood. And it is my dream with this campaign to help women before they go into the birth experience instead of after. I can't tell you the number of women I have sat with in my clinic with tears dripping down their faces because they've had such a bad birth experience. And I just feel like I have this incredible knowledge that I'd love to share with you. And I know from the women that I've worked with that when they have this knowledge up front, they have a completely different birth experience. Your birth memory lasts forever. That experience will be with you for the rest of your life. Your gynae's not going to remember. The other people in the room who were there to support, they are not going to remember, but you will remember. Make sure that the decisions that you make result in a good birth experience. And I want you to understand as well that babies remember too. These birth experiences impact on our children. They impact on our babies. And I always find it quite strange that we put so much time and effort into planning a wedding, into going away on holiday. You'd never dream of arriving at your wedding and going, oh, well, I'll just see what flowers are there on the day. But somehow with birth, because we're so terrified, we kind of get to the gynae and we want to hand over our birth experience to someone else so that we don't have to take responsibility for the outcome. What I would like to do is change this experience of birth for most moms. So what stops us having a great birth experience? Well, I've already mentioned the fear that's involved, but there are a number of factors here, specific factors that influence how we feel about birth. The first is pain. Most women will make a decision based on where they feel the pain will be greatest. If a Caesar will be more painful, they'll choose natural. If natural is perceived to be more painful, they will choose a Caesar. Pain is a big deal when making decisions about birth. A few other issues include the unknown. The unknown is the biggest fear that we have as human beings, especially for a first-time mom going into that. It really is a huge unknown experience. And horror stories, let's face it, pretty much everything we hear about birth is horrendous. Every single class that I teach, I get the couples to sit there, to close their eyes, and I ask them to imagine that they're watching a birth on TV. And then I ask them, where is the mom? She's in hospital. How is she positioned? On her back. What is she doing? Screaming. It is the same for all of us. That programming is so strong in our minds. Losing control, not a happy place for a lot of women. Losing our dignity, our loss of privacy that we're aware of during birth, also not a great place for most women. And many women in South Africa have a false sense that having a cesarean section is actually safer than a natural birth. This is not actually true. In fact, you are 4 times more likely to die as a result of a Caesar than you are of a natural birth. But what we notice about all these factors, they have one thing in common, and that is fear. The fear that we experience in our bodies releases stress hormone. The stress hormone causes our uterus to constrict and dramatically impacts the way that we give birth. If we can eliminate the fear and help the body to relax, we can help moms have a completely different birth experience. So why is this such a big deal? The reason this is such a big deal is because when we understand how our bodies work and how we can participate, we empower ourselves to have a completely different kind of birth experience. This is fundamental information when having a baby. If you are empowered with the right information and the right tools, then you can positively impact the kind of birth that you're choosing. What I've done with this information toolkit is given you amazing information to help you make better decisions. Through the 6 video clips, you will understand the 6 biggest fears that women have around birth and how to eliminate them. You will know the 3 things that your gynae will never tell you. You will understand the most important question to ask yourself when deciding where to give birth. You will learn and understand how to reduce and eliminate the pain involved in childbirth. And at the end of it, I'm going to give you an amazing 6-step formula to help you have your best possible birth experience. You know, all of our bodies are designed to run, but you would never dream of jumping out of bed tomorrow morning and going and running the Comrades Marathon. You just wouldn't do it in your right mind. But the same is true of birth. Our bodies are designed to birth, and yet we go and give birth without giving ourselves the right preparation or training. Now, when it comes to birth, we don't have a schedule. We generally go and speak to a whole lot of people who've had a pretty rubbish, horrific experience. We don't really think about how we're eating. We definitely don't think about training our bodies to relax, teaching ourselves to be in the right emotional space for birth. We don't think about our mind. And certainly if you had a coach who told you, I'm sure you can't do this, you would fire them. So why is it that when it comes to a marathon, we understand what's involved, and yet when it comes to birth, the fear stops us? What I'm saying to you is, this is your roadmap. This is your training schedule to help you have your best possible birth experience. My birth, my choice. Do you want to know the benefits a calmer, easier birth has on your baby? Then download the toolkit now.